Hey everybody, Jem Schofield here with the C47 and another episode of Gearbox. So, if you're into the DSLR world and you are even reading a little bit about Canon DSLRs, then you probably know that this week the 2.0.3 firmware update came out, and you probably also know, that there was a little hiccup. A hiccup. And what is that hiccup? Well, basically that there's some issues with manual audio and the audio not being recorded, especially when you're using some of the custom settings where you're setting up your own custom profiles and all that good stuff. So what does that mean? Well, I have to say that in terms of Canon, I think they've handled that very, very well. Normally, a sort of MO for a company would be to be hush-hush, maybe not even acknowledge that there's a problem, but they, with full credit to them, to support both their still photographers and their video people, and of course there's a lot of hybrid shooters out there as well, basically made the public aware that they were aware of the problem very early on, and gave a recommendation to people who had already done the firmware update, which is essentially to go into an auto mode with your audio if you're using one of your C settings, your custom settings, 1, 2, or 3 on the camera, and for everybody else to just hold tight until they have some sort of, I guess 2.0.4 or 5 or whatever they call it. So I am actually running 2.0.3, but I'm not using any custom settings. I'm in manual, and it seems to be working swimmingly well. So I'm just going to keep it that way for now. I'm not going to go hunting and try to downgrade to a lower firmware. And I'm just going to hold tight until they come out with something. So today, I want to talk to you about this stuff right here. It's not really stuff, it's something. And we commonly call them moving blankets. And they can be had at a Home Depot or a Lowe's or online for 10 to 20 bucks a pop. They come in various sizes. They come in various thicknesses. And if we're using them to protect things when we're traveling with them, then they're moving blankets. Or when we're trying to hide things in the car, when we have lots of expensive equipment and we're driving down the highway and we have to padiddle or something like that. So they become very handy for that. But then when they move on to a set, and we are doing an interview, and there's lots of, we as if there's some sort of collective here, but you're doing an interview and there's lots of noise coming from over there, then you might hang a sound blanket over here, or there's noise coming from over there, so you might hang one there, and it's just going to help isolate the sound. Or you might hang one on either side, or in the case of Cooper Union, we actually hung one up against the vent to prevent that noise from spilling into the area where we're recording the talent. Secondly, let's say you come into a space where you're shooting in a kitchen and it has a tile floor. Well, if you've got your shotgun, your boom mic facing down, that's going to be an acoustical nightmare. Sound is going to be bouncing all over the floor, and it's going to sound like an echo chamber. So all you do is just put a ginormous sound blanket underneath the talent, and that will help eliminate that problem. One other use, when you're doing things like walking a dolly or something, having that sound blanket under there is going to eliminate that noise when you're going to go ahead and move around and stuff like that. So infinite uses. It is really up there with GAF and with C47s. So there you go, and I'll see you guys next time on Gearbox.